know of 2 bills of 5,000, and I know of another bill of 122, and I know another bill of about 20.
These bills that have been submitted for reimbursement from
the engineer, from the administrator, from the recording fees for and some legal fees, for doing our notice of limitation of use. But they're fees things that occurred in the last fiscal year.
That number what was for what you did.
Which I figured was the same thing.
Okay. So
It says here, though, Mr. Mayor, that the budget amendment required for the work to be completed in May and June of $25,000.
That was the estimate when we first started this. It is actually less than that.
And
So what you're asking us to do, Mr. Mayor, is just pass a budget amendment without the numbers. Is that correct?
Capped at 25,000. I interpreted it.
Have the bills been paid?
Yes, sir.
Seems to me like Mr. Mayor, we ought to have the exact numbers if the bills have been paid. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the budget, amending the budget for 16-7 for the amounts that have been paid for the Garrison Park renovations.
I'll second that. Any other questions or discussion on this particular item?
I'd like to say, Mayor, that I'm not going to support this because we've learned a lot of things on this in the last month or two. I can't understand. We've asked not to have to tear 4,000 foot of fencing down. Good chain link fence. 6 foot, 8 foot, 12 foot top. There's not a person at this grant agency can tell us why they're requiring us to take this down. And we can put some of it back up if we want to. So the taxpayers pay for this fence and it's in good shape. And I've talked to a fence company that does this. And we're talking, depending on who takes it down, what they charge, we're talking somewhere like $150,000. Take down, put it back up. If you could put it all back up. And I don't agree with this, so I'm not going to support it.
Mr. Mayor, I'm not saying that I'm not voting for the contract for Lowe's or the any of the other parts. The only thing that I meant to say in this budget amendment was for the bills that we have been paid. No contracts, no acceptance of the grant or anything else.
So this agenda item is rather twofold in nature. We're approving we're approving an amendment to cover the expenses already paid, and then we'll have to readdress the issue of approval of whether we proceed forward with the grant.
That's not on the agenda.
It's not on the, even though it's the work session, it was directed to be on the agenda because we would need a third reading for it to go through. See what I'm saying? This legislative text is a little bit.
Third readings for the budget now, right?
The third reading is strictly about the budget amendment for 16-17. And in what was in the last special call, the motion was to defer it until we find out about the fence. That's the only direction I've ever given.
So we're not even talking about whether we're accepting the grant tonight?
We're only talking about the budget amendment to pay the bills.
Budget amendment to pay what expenses are already incurred.
So as I understand it now, since you've got the additional information, we need to bring it back before you for a third reading, and that's when you can, no?
Well,
Okay,
the budget amendment is still just 16-17 expenditures, that's all it is.
But what about acceptance of the grant?
You've already done that. You would have to rescind all those actions.
So that's where the confusion's coming
You did that months ago.
Mayor, I haven't signed it yet, though,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
it's not signed on the agenda.
Pardon?
It's not signed on the agenda.
What's not signed? The budget amendment? Oh, the budget amendment hasn't been
The
passed.
contracts.
It is signed. I have a signed copy. All the contracts have been signed to the,
So this motion is to pay the actual expenses that have been incurred in fiscal year 16-17 for the Garrison Park renovation project. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
The actual expenses. And I seconded that, didn't I?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other discussion on this item?
They've been paid already, so we're approving a budget amendment to cover that. Okay.
Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Graham,
Aye.
Councilmember Wyatt,
No.
Councilmember Harris.
I'm just lost on this, but I'm gonna vote no.
Councilmember Shanks.
Aye.
Mayor Mayberry.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda